New Orleans is known for many things: voodoo, jazz music, amazing food, but it's also known for having one of the most haunted cemeteries in the world. The city of New Orleans has more than 700 known cemeteries, with over 1 million dead people buried there. That's a lot of angry spirits that could potentially haunt you. And that's exactly what happened to a young woman who was living above her family's business. Her name was Madame Lalaurie, and she was married to a man named Louis Bartholomew. But their marriage was not a happy one, and Delphine began plotting to get back at her husband after he had done something truly heinous. It all started when Delphine moved into the home above her father's grocery store in New Orleans. Her father had already warned her not to marry Louis, but she didn't listen. Shortly after they were wed, she found out why. Louis was a brute and would often beat Delphine without warning. He would come home late from work smelling of stale waste and chamber pots, and he would always say that he had been hanging out with his friends. Delphine knew this wasn't true, though. She knew he was visiting other women, so whenever he went out, she would follow him, smashing bottles of expensive perfume over his head, so that he would smell bad enough that she would be the only woman he wanted to be around. One day, while stalking her husband, Delphine saw him go into a house, but he came out shortly after holding a package. This made her really angry, so she broke into the house and discovered that the package contained a baby. When she looked inside, she realized it was a girl and still breathing, so she grabbed the baby and ran. She then took the infant to an outhouse and drowned her, killing her. Then she went straight home, where she took some white powder off the windowsill and ate it. She knew it was arsenic, which was commonly used as rat poison back then. She ate it because she knew it would make her look like she was sick, and she hoped it would make Louis feel sorry for her, so she could tell him about what she had done. He would either have to kill her for what she did or take care of her. Well, her plan worked perfectly. He did take care of her, but instead of being nice, he locked her in a room where he proceeded to beat her. Then he dragged her to the bathtub and began filling it with water. He told her that he was going to drown her, just like she had drowned his baby. But before he could do anything, she passed out from the amount of arsenic she had ingested. And when she awoke, her punishment had changed. She had been sewn up in a mattress and left to die a horrible, slow death. Fortunately for Delphine, her father found her in time and cut her open, freeing her from the mattress. As soon as she was out, she confessed to him what she had done and that she deserved to die. However, her father was able to convince her to flee New Orleans instead. She went to live with her mother in St. Louis, but she never forgot the pain her husband had caused her, and it seems that neither did her father. Just 2 years later, Delphine's father and brother traveled to New Orleans under the cover of darkness. They slipped into Louis's house and poured a bucket of tar over him while he slept. They then set his house on fire and burned him alive. After the deed was done, they returned to St. Louis, where Delphine was waiting for them. They all lived the rest of their lives, knowing that they had gotten their revenge on the man who had wronged them. After hearing that story, you might think that Delphine got the worst of it. I mean, she was sewn up in a mattress, for crying out loud. But her story was just beginning. When Delphine's father and brother left to carry out their revenge, she decided that she couldn't live with what she had done. So she tried to take her own life by drinking turpentine. But she survived the attempt, even though her stomach was completely eaten away by the toxic liquid. She then attempted to end her life 3 more times, once by throwing herself down a flight of stairs, another time by jumping out of a 2nd-story window, and finally by swallowing lye. But every time she was saved by a family member or a friend. Delphine's brother even said, "I believe, if the good Lord had not willed otherwise, that girl would have killed herself 20 times. Eventually, she was sent to an insane asylum, where she was treated for several years. She would later claim that the voices of the people she had killed spoke to her from beyond the grave, telling her that she needed to seek forgiveness for what she had done. Well, Delphine spent some time at the asylum, but eventually she was released and began working as a servant for several wealthy families. During this time, she married twice, but both of her husbands died under mysterious circumstances, and no one could help but wonder if Delphine had poisoned them, just like she had poisoned the baby. She would go on to live to the age of 83, but her torment never ended. After her brother carried out their revenge against their common enemy, Delphine continued to hear the voices of the dead. They would whisper to her as she slept, and she could hear them roaming through her home at night. Sometimes they would even move objects around while she was watching, and she would see full shadows standing at the foot of her bed. She became so distraught that she had to go back to the asylum, where she received treatment for 10 years. But when she was released, she was right back to hearing the voices and seeing the shadows. This drove her mad, and she eventually began wandering the streets of New Orleans, singing and dancing. She was seen walking barefoot through the French Quarter, and along the banks of the Mississippi River. People would watch her dance while standing on top of tombstones in the middle of the night. This went on for weeks until she collapsed and died. Some say that she was possessed by the ghost of the baby she had drowned, and that's why she was drawn to the cemetery. Others say that she was trying to make amends for what she had done, and that's why she was dancing on the tombstones, but no one knows for sure. Some believe that the ghost of the sausage ghost of New Orleans still wanders the cemeteries at night, looking for her next victim. The legend goes that she will reach out to you and grab your arm, and if you let her, she will lead you to the nearest body of water, where she will drown you and steal your skin. Then she will sew you up in a mattress and leave you to die, just like she was left to die. There are many people who claim to have encountered the ghost of Delphine Lalaurie in the cemeteries of New Orleans. Most of them say that they were walking alone at night when they felt a cold spot appear beside them. Then they heard the sound of footsteps following them, and when they turned around, they saw the ghost of Delphine standing over them. Some say that Delphine was wearing the skin of her latest victim, and others say she was naked except for a pair of shoes. Either way, if you encounter her in the cemeteries of New Orleans, don't let her grab your hand, because if she does, you might end up being the next person stitched up in a mattress. In 2018, 2 men claimed that they had actually captured footage of the ghost of Delphine. In the video, we can see what appears to be a shadowy figure standing between 2 tombstones. Some believe that this is Delphine, and the fact that the figure appears grey and translucent helps to prove that theory. Researchers who were investigating the case checked the metadata on the video and discovered that it was taken on March 3, 2018. But when they looked at the weather report for that day, they discovered that it had been cloudy. If Delphine is a spirit that can only appear when the sun isn't shining, then that rules her out as being the ghost in the video, but that doesn't rule out the possibility that it could be someone else. New Orleans is a hot spot for paranormal activity, and it's possible that there is more than one ghost haunting the cemeteries there. What do you think? Is the ghost in the video Delphine or someone else? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe before you go.